Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. First of all, apologies for my manicure. I have been doing a bit of gardening, and although I only did my fingernails yesterday, they're already messed up. Never mind about this. They'll be even muckier after I've shown you what we're doing today. I already had a little play, and yeah, I want to show you what I have done. I have used this leaf die. You've seen me use that before. Oh, never mind this one. That's just a bit of cardboard in there. And I have cut these two leaves out of craft foam. You know, just the fun foam that you get in the kiddies section. Don't bother about the colour. I've just done it in two colours because I had scraps. And I have cut them twice each just to stack them a little bit. And I have glued them together with my Cosmic Shimmer glue. After one craft experience about a week ago, I haven't uploaded that video because it was a total fail. I found that craft foam doesn't go that well with the acrylic glue, so I found the quick grab glue works much better. And I then have stuck this down on my acrylic blocks with just some removable adhesive. I put that onto the acrylic block and then stuck these leaves down, because now I have got two leaf stamps. And I made sure that the top bit that has got the veins of the leaves, that these are still on top and will stamp as well. And whilst I was thinking about what to record today, I sort of had an idea. I knew I wanted to stamp with these, but I thought, how do I use them? What inks do I use? And then I remembered a technique that I've seen a while ago, but I've seen it, I think, with what's it called, the refills, you know, ink refills. But I thought I'm just going to use some of my Dinkles and my Brushos. So what I did with my trial piece that you can see here is, oops, that's my little water bottle. I have just sprinkled some of my Dinkles, just a yellow, orange and red, onto this. It's actually a baby wipe, but it's dry. It doesn't matter, it can be a wet one, but these had just dried out. And I've got a mat underneath, so I'm not messing up my desk. And I just sprinkle this on top, and I want to show you this again now. But I will use a mix of my Dinkles and my Brushos. Either of these work. So I'm just going to use this emerald green. All you do is just spread this out a little bit. You actually don't need a big area like this. You can keep it a bit smaller, because all you need really is the size of this, but I just spread it out like this. So I've got a leaf green here, and I think these are so much fun because you never know what they're going to be like, what colour is going to turn out into. And then I will use this lime. It's always a bit difficult to open. It looks cute with a duck, but these are not really easy to grab. I need to replace these tops actually. Let me just get some scissors and get this out. So just a little bit of that. And I think that's enough for now. I've got another green Dinkle, but I think I'll leave it that. So all you need to do then is use your water bottle. Oh, I actually got a full one here. Might be better. So you just spray it a little bit. As I said, if you've already got a damp baby wipe, this might have already reacted. So I'm leaving it at this. And you need some cardstock that can hold a little bit of water. I've got my usual 300 GSM cardstock, which is thick enough to hold water. It's not advertised as watercolor cardstock, but it works fine. So, and now all I'm doing is I'm picking the ink up, and this might actually have some residue from here, but it doesn't matter. And I'm just stamping with it. And it's got a bit of residue from the orange because I didn't clean it, but this doesn't matter for this anyway. And it's like being back in my childhood, just stamping, a bit like potato stamping. Do you remember that? Where you cut a potato in half and you carve a motif into it. It's a bit like that. And I don't know if the camera picks that up, but you've got all the variations of the Dinkles and the Brushos in the stamp there. And all I did was just sort of stamp it all over, and then I swapped over to this one. Again, this one will have some residue of the orange on there, but it doesn't matter. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit for the video now. So as you could see, I twisted this stamp and turned it around, so I'm not stamping in the same direction. I'm also conscious from the Cosmic Shimmer glue, in some areas it actually oozes out still because it's still not dry yet, but that doesn't really matter. So I want to go back into the first one, so I'm popping this aside, and I've still got the rest here, and I want to give this a trial run and see if I can add some mica powder and whether that picks up. So but this time I want to clean these, so I'm just brushing them off a little bit here. Make sure I don't have too much green. Oops, and there you can see it's actually come apart because it hasn't dried yet. But it doesn't matter, I can just stick it back on. So be careful when you clean it. Maybe just twist it a little bit. So yeah, that'll be fine. So I'm just putting this mica powder on here. I'm thinking about just adding another brush of colour just to change this up a little bit, and I thought maybe the amethyst would work well with that. I'm a little bit inspired by a napkin that I own that even has got these purple colours. So I'm just putting it over that. And again, I'm just reactivating the ink. Or activating, I should say, reactivating what I had on the bottom and activating what I've just put over there. And I'm just going over this. Yeah, it's a bit more liquid. Maybe it's because I had just had the green on it. I'll have a look how solid this is. I like the gold on it, but the amethyst is not. It's a bit very watery. I'm not sure if I have to put more on it. I think I could do with another dark blue and just see if the blue dragon works. I think I could do with a bit more blue in there just for a bit more of the contrast. And the mica powder actually stays a bit on the foam, so it's all a trial run. I haven't done this completely yet, but that's so much better. It's got so much more contrast. So yeah, just have a play with it. I'm not quite sure that I like the combination here, and whether this is sort of looks a bit too busy now. But yeah, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll dismiss this piece here. But I think what might be worth doing with this one here, if I go in with another colour, is just cut another leaf. Oh, by the way, when you cut out foam, only put it through the die cutting machine once. Don't go forth and back, because that will double cut it. So just cut it one way and just cut two lots. And I think I'll do that again. So I think I'll dismiss this. I'll leave this to dry anyhow to see what the mica powder turns out like, but although I do like this here with the mica powder. So just bear with me whilst I prepare another stamp. So I've cut myself another leaf, and this time I used my double-sided adhesive roller again to stick these together, and that works as well, so I don't have the issue with the liquid glue there, so that's worth knowing. I have, as I said, I have dismissed the other one, that it was too much of a contrast between the dark green and purple and the orange leaf, so that goes in the bin. But I have put a bit more orange and yellow on the tissue here, because I do want to pick up what I basically had here as a bit of residue. So I'm coming in with this leaf, but I can go onto here and onto here and just get a good mix and just go in like that. And as I said before, if you feel this is not damp enough anymore, just revive it with your water bottle. So that works well together, the orange, red, yellow. I also find if I press too much, the little veins disappear a little bit, whereas if I do it gently, they show a bit better. So obviously another thought I had earlier is, rather than trying to fill this up now, I could have created a background, like maybe just an ink blended one, or even a Dinkle background in a different colour, and then I wouldn't have this sort of urge now to fill it all up with leaves. But it's just a play I'm having at the moment, and then I have a think about how I'm going to turn this into cards. I want to create 2 cards from this. One I thought maybe a clean and simple, a bit like where I just use a certain area, and then one where I want to do a bit more with this. So I feel maybe just have one more to tie this leaf in, and then maybe I should just leave it at that before they disappear, the leaves. So I think off camera I will have another go at just having the orange, red and yellow background, and then have another go of using the mica powder, golden mica powder with it. Whereas this one, I shall just leave it as simple as this, I think. I think that's enough, and as I said, I'll have a think whilst I create the other background and how to use this, and this obviously needs to dry as well. I just had a thought when I switched the camera off and wanted to dispose of this. I can actually use this to create a background for the next one. So I'm just folding this apart because I don't want the orange too much in it. But I can fold it up like this, and you see I've put a glove on because I don't really want to mess myself up and actually do this on here. And I can just use this to create a very quick background just with the wet wipe. And just swiped it now, but I can also press it down, get a bit of a texture on it, and there's the orange coming through. So if I wanted to, I could unfold this, try not to get my other finger too messy, and just use it like this. So I will leave that to dry, or you might even dry it with my heat tool, and then stamp over that as well, just to give you an idea what options you have. Very, very useful, very versatile, these wet wipes. So I'm just popping in for 2 reasons. First of all, I decided to use my new piece of wet wipe, first of all to create a background on half of this sheet, and then I will stamp with it on this sheet and then on this one when it's dried. But the other thing I forgot to say at the beginning of the video, apologies for everyone in the Southern Hemisphere. My dear subscriber Jennifer from Australia, she commented the other day and said, yes, it's obviously spring where they are, and sometimes I don't think about these things. I enjoy my autumn videos at the moment, but they might not be that inspiring if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. So apologies for that, but obviously the technique you can also use for spring cards, and you can cut flowers, for example, from fun foam, and create some lovely flower cards. So I'm just taking this as it is. I've used the red, the orange and the yellow, and I put some gold mica on it, but I spread the mica out a little bit with my glove. So I'm just trying to fold this up a little bit without me touching the other side, sorry, the other hand, and I'm just going over this. I know I don't need the whole panel, but I want a little bit, and if I now find this is too dry as before, I'm just going to dampen it again Just want to make sure it's sort of solid in the middle, as I will not use the whole panel. I don't mind too much. I don't know if you can see the shine of the mica powder. That's absolutely lovely. So, and I'm hoping that this is enough now for me to stamp with. It should be, if I dampen it again. So I'm just making sure that I'll take this off now, because I don't want to get the acrylic blocks messy. So just stamping this off at the edge where I don't need it, just to make sure. It's got a bit of green left in it, but that doesn't matter. So this is now fine for stamping again. So I just wanted to show you this so you know what I've been doing in the meantime. And as I said, I will leave these to dry, and I'm not quite sure whether I've got time tonight to finish making cards, or whether I leave that for another day, or maybe even another video. Okay, so I'm just popping in to show you what I have done, and whilst I remember what I've used, which colours I've used and what I've done, but I definitely know we leave these to dry until at least tomorrow, so I won't finish them at the moment. I just added, let me just show you this, just added just some more green to the orange here, because I had some residue here from the stamping before, so I felt like I needed to add a bit more green there. And then, because this was already orange in the background, let me just show you this closer to the camera, I just added some of the amethyst just to have a bit more contrast. And I was going back and forth between these bits where I had the green and where I had the amethyst, and I dampened this a few times, so every time you feel like you don't have enough ink on the stamp, just put more water in, just mist it a little bit, and that will definitely revive the ink here. And then I went on to this green one before, same thing. I just used the same inks there. Went in with the, oh, that's another tip, go in with the bigger stamps first and sort of fill this, and then use the little ones to fill in the gaps. With this one here, and I think with this one, I went in with the smaller stamps, and then it's a bit more difficult to use the bigger stamps and not to overlap them too much, although I do like the look of these having fallen as they are. This one's a bit messy, but I think once I've done another thing with them, because I think about heat embossing on top, I think this will have a bit more definition. Although, having said that, I do love these speckles. I'm not sure how well the camera picks them up, and we've got the lovely shine there from the mica powder. So yeah, this is why I will leave these on the acrylic blocks, because I will use these for the heat embossing, and I will stamp with them again. But as I said, I will just leave this here now. I'm just cleaning this up. I could again leave this just to dry and revive it again, but I think I'm done with this now. But as I said before, it is so much fun. I really thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'm sure I will love the cards that I'm creating with them without blowing my own trumpet. So I should call it a night here, but don't switch the video off just yet. I will show you at least one card, and I will probably create a few videos for a few postings or few scheduled videos. So I will probably call this part 1, and then there will definitely be a part 2. So it is the next day, my panels have dried, and I just wanted to share my thought process of how I decided what to do with these panels. So this one was the, well, originally second one, but the first successful one. I really like the white on this one, so I don't want to mess about with this. I don't want to do too much on top, and I will just use this as a background, but as the main feature of the card, so I don't want to stamp too much on it. I've got an idea for this. So the green one, because I used the tissue and spread the green out, and then I dabbed the orange on it, the leaves actually get a bit lost. So unless I use this only as a background with a hint of leaves, I would have to put something on the front to add that as a feature. And I'm thinking about putting some heat embossing on this, so stamping again but with a Versamark this time, and adding some more leaves so I've got a bit of a main focus, because these leaves definitely get a bit lost. But I do like the look of this, especially the darker leaves. I think are really nice. These here look a bit like blobs, especially where I had the orange underneath anyway. So then I've got, this one's quite similar to the green one, but I've got a bit less variation of the colours. I've got only spots of green in there, and there is some mica powder, but I don't know if the camera picks that up. It's very subtle as well. Again, I do like it, but I think it's less impactful compared to this one. So again, I think I will either stamp on top of this, or the option is also to use a smaller portion. One of the cards I will show you, I will just use a small portion because I would like to create a clean and simple card. And then there's this one, similar to the green one. I swiped down the background, and on this the leaves definitely got lost. So it's definitely very faded background, almost like they're a bit misty. So with this one I will definitely do some heat embossing on this, and I will just use a small section. So I think for today I will just start on this card. I've got loads of ideas, I've got things ready, but in this video I'll keep it to this card, and then I will record a second video which will appear a few days later on my channel, and I will create a second card, so I will use all 4 backgrounds. Okay, so I know I want to cut a piece out of this, and I'd like to create a frame. This is why I've got 2 square dies here, and I like the rounded look of these because I know I will turn this into a sympathy card. I try not to have too many in stock, but it's nice to have one ready when you need one. So I have used this piece here sort of to decide where I want to cut this, and I like the look of that. I didn't want to go too close to the edges here, and I think I like this bit best where I can see this leaf here, and some of these will be covered. I don't want to go in with the same size of leaves, so I've cut 2 more pieces, and these are the smaller leaves, but again I've got the maple and the oak leaf here. Reason being also why I cut new ones anyways, I want to use my Versamark ink pad to stamp these. I could use my liquid Versamark refill and use a stamping block, but last time I did this I tried to apply it with a brush and it wasn't very even, and I don't want this to be too wet because I want these veins to show. So I thought if I go in with my Versamark pad, then that would be better, but I don't want to transfer anything onto the pad. I hope I'm not transferring the mica powder on this. I'll have a look in a moment. So I've also got on the side here my copper embossing powder. I think this will go nicely with these colours. And I've also already used my powder tool, but because I touched it again, I think I'll just use it again. So all I need to do, I'll just get some scrap paper ready just in case I need to swipe my also I need to swipe the stamps again, just in case I do pick up some mica powder. So sorry for the rustling. So I'm just using this here and just remind myself, I tell you what, I will just quickly draw around it so I know I'm not stamping too far outside of the frame. Having said that though, I do want these leaves to come in from the side because I don't want it to look like too intentional. I want them to look like they're actually falling. So I'm just inking this up like a normal stamp, just testing it on the side against the light, making sure my ink pad is juicy enough. And then the tricky thing here obviously is to remember where you've stamped. So I might just do a few once here and then emboss it before I come in with the other one. This is really tricky then. I can see it against the light though, so that might be okay. So I think I'll come in with this one first to mix it up, making sure I've got enough space, because I've done the same thing as I did before and I told you not to do, is go in with the bigger one first and then you can use the smaller one where you haven't stamped yet. I think I will do just one here and then this one just coming in from the side here. I think this will be just enough, because I don't want it to be too busy for a sympathy card. So see if I can do that above this here. So ideally I would have covered my work surface just with some paper to protect it, just in case I do spill some embossing powder. Oh, sorry if I'm going off camera there. Just concentrating on this. So just pouring this back into the box, giving that a good knock over the bin. So I will just flick it on the back over the bin. I'll do that off camera now, and then I will heat set this, and if this doesn't come off I can use a brush to just swipe it off. I'm just having a quick look if I need another one coming in, but if I cut this off, yeah, I think I'll just leave it like this. I don't want it to be too busy. I might actually turn it round afterwards and have it this way. I'll have a look. Okie doke, so bear with me. I will heat set this. I like to do it from the back, so you heat up your heat tool properly, and then I like to do it from the back so it doesn't blow the embossing powder away before it's setting. Well, I had forgotten that this is a 300 GSM, so when I tried to heat it up from the back, not much happened, so I had to do it from the front, but I really like the look of this. If you hold it like this, it looks like brown, but when you hold it against the light, it's proper copper, and I think this looks really nice now, and it gives the recipient, you know, more of an idea what it is in the background, and it gives a bit of a focus, so I really like this. So I'm now going to cut this out off camera. I will use the bigger frame rather than having an insert. I will use the bigger frame to cut this out, but then I will cut from white cardstock a frame using both these dies. I will cut 2 or 3 of these to stack them, because I would like to give that a bit of dimension, and I will also cut off camera some more leaves, because just in white cardstock, because I would like to use some to create a bit of a bunch of leaves at the bottom here. So, and I might also already off camera stamp a sentiment strip, but I'll have a look in my selection what I have got, or whether I will use a die cut. A little tip before I forget, I was struggling to cut the frame here. It wasn't really going through, and I put an extra metal shim in, but it did shift slightly, and I've got these edges here and they're quite tricky to cut off. So what I'm doing here, so I'm just using a nail file, and then they come off really nicely. So that's a little tip for you. Ideally go downwards so you're not damaging the cardstock on the top, as in if you go like this you might end up moving it that way. So yeah, that's a really useful tip, especially if you've got stranglers like that. Just do this, hope the camera picks it up, and then you can actually also go on the back and just try to do it like this. If it doesn't come off, you can always use scissors afterwards, like little nail scissors, but usually that's quicker than trying to cut the whole bits off. I have glued the frame onto the background here. I have cut the stitching off a little bit, and then I knew this would be smaller and I knew this would actually fit. I still wasn't happy with bits on the inside, and I found that if I ran the tweezers along the edge I could still loosen a few bits and scrape them off. it's not the perfect die. I never realised that badly, but it's okay for this purpose. So before I glue this onto here now, I thought I have to decide what I'm going to do with these bits. I have stamped and heat embossed with clear embossing powder, this with Deepest Sympathy. I had a few to choose from, so I did a few at this time. Holding You in My Prayers or Sending You a Big Hug would have worked as well. So I think I want this here on the side here, because my idea is to have a cluster of these leaves just offset here and just cascading a little bit, or at least like a bundle here on the side. So I'm just having a little play, having the bigger ones maybe in the background, and I want these definitely to go off the frame, but I don't want this to be too busy. Maybe I just stick with 3 leaves. I think that might be just enough. Just having a look. Maybe just like that. Yeah, I think this will be just enough. I don't want this to be too busy. And I might cut down the sentiment strip just a little bit on the side here. So when I glue these down, I will use my Cosmic Shimmer glue again. I use them for the frame as well. I will just stick these 2 down, this one first, and maybe even move this one so this is level here. Obviously the frame is a bit thicker, so I've got 2 levels of the pack cardstock here, so I need to pop a little bit of foam underneath these bits. Or the other thing I could use is, because I've cut these twice, I could cut a little bit off here and stick this underneath, but I think I won't bother for here, so I just will put a little piece of foam underneath. And the same on the other side, where I've actually got 3 layers now because I've got the background as well. So, but I'll stick them on here first, and then I can turn this over and see where I need to put the foam pads, and then I will glue the whole thing down. And then I will do this all off camera again, and then I will show you the finished card. Here's my finished card. I went for the second maple leaf in the end. I really like the look of maple leaves, so yeah, I'm really pleased with this. So I centered this in the middle as far as the sides are concerned, but I moved it up a little bit because I wanted a lot of space for the sentiment, and you've got a lot of dimension. I put this one up as well, and I rounded this off a little bit with my corner rounder. So I'm really pleased with this, and I like the look of the embossing powder on there. Yeah, I don't do a lot of clean and simple cards, but I think this works really nicely. It's not too much in the face, but it's got enough of interest, and definitely I think works for a sympathy card. If you like this card, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, especially if you want to see what I do with the other 3 backgrounds, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video.